Allison Brie and Dave Franco set out to defy the social norms and state that maybe one isn't actually the loneliest number. Hey everyone, I am Joe from Create Context, and today we're talking about the film Together, the directorial debut from writer-director Michael Shanks. Together is a film about codependency and losing yourself in a relationship. It's a body horror flick that portrays these themes through haunting visuals of body morphing and literal conjoining. It's a strong premise and the themes are interesting, but this film ultimately relies on some familiar tropes that we have been seeing all too often in the horror genre. Just because I didn't love where this film ended doesn't mean I didn't like the movie. The visual representation of codependency through body horror is a very interesting idea. Allison Brie and Dave Franco give fantastic performances, and the story, sans its late film twist, is pretty strong. It's just this trap that the film falls into during its third act that left me wishing Shanks would have trusted the audience to understand the metaphor rather than having to explain away every supernatural element. The film begins with Franco and Bree's characters moving away from the city to a small remote home for Bree's job. Franco's character is a bit of aloof. He's a struggling musician who had some success but ultimately never made it big, and now spends his time drinking wine and practicing guitar while his partner works and covers the bills. There's a decent allegory here about toxic masculinity, grown men who never really grow up, but the true theme of the film is the codependency these two face with each other. When we meet this couple, they are several years into a relationship with no real plan for the future. The TV show How I Met Your Mother posited the freeway theory, that relationships are like freeways and every relationship has a few off-ramps. 6 hours in, aka a one-night stand, 4 days, 3 weeks, 7 months, a year and a half, 18 years, or death. Brie and Franco have seemingly raced past the year-and-a-half exit ramp and are now stuck on the same highway with each other for the next 18 years. Their resentment towards each other growing more and more palpable as the days wind on. It's a humorous anecdote, but there is some validity in this theory. There are certain points where it is easier to end a relationship. When we see Brie and Franco's characters, they are stuck past the year-and-a-half mark, barreling towards marriage, kids, and potentially a life of resentment. The problem with this point in their relationship is that they both have, Franco seemingly more than Brie, become totally codependent on the other's company. Despite the numerous red flags present in this relationship, they can't just call it quits. They press on, attempting to survive this relationship rather than mend it. While on a hike at their new place, the two stumble into a large cave with a body of water that contains magical properties. After ingesting the water, the two become drawn together physically in ways that are terrifying and a perfect visual representation for the state of their relationship. They want so badly to not rely on each other, to be apart from one another, but they physically cannot stay away. They are inextricably drawn to one another, needing the other person to survive. It's a fun metaphor that leans farther into being an interesting metaphor than it does just a silly gimmick. I like this idea. I like this take on toxic relationships, and I really love the performance here from the two stars. They truly do carry the movie. But the deeper they go down the well, the more boring the film becomes. There is a bigger mystery at play, one they both try to figure out, and that's where the movie began to fall apart for me. I won't spoil this twist, but if you've seen any A24 horror movie in the last 10 years, you'll be able to figure out pretty quickly what's going on. Even the score here from Cornel Wilczek, a score I quite enjoyed, harkens back to films that play with these same narrative tropes. Together is a pretty fun movie, with a lot of interesting ideas and some truly spooky scares. Combine that with the two fantastic performances, and I think this is a movie that is worth your time. I wish the film would have relied on these strong aspects rather than diving into such well-worn horror movie territory, but that ultimately didn't ruin the experience for me. Together is still a great body horror flick, and one that I think you'll enjoy, especially if you're a fan of this genre. Thank you guys, everyone. Again, I am Joe from Create Context. This is the Weekly Movie Minute. If you guys like this, please give us a subscribe. That would be super cool, and I'll see you next time.